which kind of just felt very out of their wheelhouse. They're a team that likes to come onto the map early, take over, and try and run away from the early game. And I felt like we didn't really get a chance to see that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, as far as playing your own playstyle, Matt does not want Levi doing that on the Shyvana.
No.
Not only did he do well with it in play-ins, it was actually his most played throughout the year. In the VCS, was very, very effective on it. And I think Levi really is at his best when he's playing this farm-heavy style.
Yeah, and I'm curious now if there's the respect given to Kiaya as well, because I think his Jax in their last game was almost the reason they were able to turn that game around. So I think a lot of respect has to be given to that top laner too, because he's a monster. And if he can control Mirwin, that could be the in that GAM need for this game.
Biggest problem I'm seeing right out of the gate, it didn't even take him till I got to say the name out loud. GAM playing on the red side, they banned the Skarner, they banned the Nidalee, they banned the Aurora, but the pick of the tournament so far, this Yone with the absolutely insane presence and win rate, 16-3. This champion so far at Worlds 2024. GAM lets it through. Mad are swift to pick it up. Their own bans, the Shyvana, the Rumble, and the Poppy. Anytime you get Yone, you are feeling great about the draft.
Absolutely. I mean, it is pretty shocking that GAM are going to be willing to give it over. Obviously, Yoya, did really well on the Nidalee and play-ins, especially that was kind of the big focus from him there. Skarner is a pretty high pro pick, so is Aurora, but the tournament has felt like it's all been about Yone. And while Akali is a pretty strong answer here, Akali is a similar style of champion. The biggest difference to me is just that Yone does not have to really commit himself to the play in the same way. With the Soul Unbound, you can go forward, you can always snap back if it's looking bad. You're not in the same level of risk that these other assassin-style champions are, like Akali, when you go in.
Yeah, I think on the opposite side though, Levi is still getting a lot of comfort here on the Wukong, a near 87% win rate on this pick, and it's absolutely absurd in his hands. And we're still seeing the Ziggs come out for Supa, so MDK going back towards the style that I'm still waiting to see if it works for Supa in the bottom lane, but at least you have Freskewi going on towards these melee champions that he does like to enjoy.
All right, let's see what GAM wants to go ahead and respond to. The second round of picks for Mad, not just going to be that Ziggs, but the Maokai along with it, so they will have some engage, a little bit of lockup for the damage for that Yone, for the Ziggs. Over on GAM's side, though, it is dive, Akali plus Wukong plus Kai'Sa. They are going in.
Yeah, and I think that's where you're going to see more than likely support bans trying to come through here for MDK. GAM still have that first rotation, so I think they'll try and lock in a Leona or something like a Rel on that next one, but at least maybe you can try and get something a little bit different. Alvaro's look great on the Alistar, but even a Nautilus works very well with the Ziggs.
It's kind of interesting though, because honestly, if I was MDK, I'd rather be banning out top laners, because there's so many good supports that fit in the same class to me, where it's like you have Alistar, you have Rel, you have Leona, you have Nautilus. Like you aren't going to be able to really deny everything that they can go towards. So I'll see if they do want to go that route, but I do think throwing some protection bans for Mirwin is smart, because Kiaya obviously, going to be 5th pick here on red side. He has been, to me, undebatably by far the strongest player, from GAM. He has really been good. This guy is world class. So I think, you do want to protect your top laner.
And hey, it looks like MDK is thinking the same thing. You are Azael. Jack's going to be the first ban here from them in the second half. Meanwhile, GAM taking the Alistar out of the picture. Very, very powerful counter engage on this champion alongside engage. I can see the value in not wanting your divers to all be vulnerable to a pulverize at the same time, being knocked back away from the headbutt. Leona now also going to be banned out there, so taking out 2 of those potential tanky engage supports.
Yeah, and I mean, if I was Mad now, I was going to say you could even just potentially not do another support ban here, and you could do a Nautilus Rel trade, but if they're happy going for a different direction, I think that's fine. I would expect Nautilus. I mean, it's been the most common pairing with Kai'Sa pretty much since Kai'Sa came out. Yep. Blitz would be pretty spicy, but I don't think we're going to be seeing this without knowing what the support is.
Yeah, I think the Rakan is your best bet if you want that sort of engage tool still, and with so many of the other big engage tools down, that feels like it fits perfectly into the wheelhouse. The only thing that I've really seen bring in a Blitzcrank has been like Gen.G, they were playing this like Maokai Blitzcrank comp and seeing if they could make that work, but I think the Nautilus works really well here. It's something we see a lot paired with the Ziggs, just because you get that point and click ultimate from the Nautilus to set up then for the follow-up ultimate from the Ziggs, and if you've even got a Yone in the mix too, it means that something like a Kai'Sa could very quickly be mowed down.
Okay, never mind. When they changed last second to Lulu there for a second, I was like, oh, interesting.
It could also be Lulu top. We have seen before, so.
Never underestimate Mirwin's champion pool. All right, so we do have the Nautilus locked in here for MDK, and the top laner will be one of the classic blinds in Gnar. So what does Kiaya want to pick into this? The Jax, the only thing they banned out in that second phase to protect the top lane. I'm curious where GAM's going to go here. The rest of the team is all going in full send.
Oh, okay. This is going to be really interesting. So it's very likely to be Smolder top here. There is some small chance that they could actually flex these around, but it should be Smolder top. I'm going to be interested to see how this actually goes out. You know, I do expect that Mirwin should be winning the 1v1 in the early stages. Smolder, though, you're just kind of playing for push. You're playing for stacks. You don't really need to be winning the actual 1v1 fights as long as you can kind of ignore the Gnar and just kind of fight the minions.
Yeah, I think it's just a case of, hey, look, I've got a slightly longer range. Maybe I can look for some stacking opportunities on the Gnar, but as Azale's saying, it's just to take it easy. Just play for that push for the Smolder and make things just neutral in that regard. You get to scale into the later portion of the game. I am definitely keeping my eyes on the level 6 though for this mid jungle from GAM, because I feel like once Akali hits 6 and Wukong hits 6, those Void Grub fights can be so explosive for this comp, but it's up against Maokai and Yone on the opposite side.
And you know, this split, including playoffs and regular season, this will be the 6th Smolder for Kiaya. He is 4-1 on the pick thus far, so has been pretty successful for him. You know, not one of his most played, but he does have an incredibly deep champion pool. A lot of his most popular picks obviously banned out here, but going towards that Smolder, and does give them a bit of that scaling win condition potentially here over on the GAM side. But I will say it maybe feels a little bit disjointed from what the rest of the comp wants to do. Though, of course, you know, the ulti is always good at assisting dive.
Yeah, the big question I have is how does it fit in with the rest of the dive? Can they get the value out of it since everybody else is going full send all the way in?
And that's what I'm really kind of worried about for the Dragon here, is that it's like, you know, yes, you can throw out the ulti if the rest of your team is diving in, but at the same time, if Yone's in your face, no one is really going to be there necessarily to peel. It seems like the rest of the composition all wants to go forward. So you could end up in these weird situations where you're kind of just like fighting against the Maokai and the Yone and always losing out. So we'll see how they do make it happen.
It's also as you start to move in towards like topside skirmishes. Yes, the Smolder is strong in the later portion, but early skirmishes definitely on the way of MDK.
We are already starting out with a couple of punches being thrown back and forth here as Emo loses about half the HP. Of course, it's so early on in the game time that it'll be very easy for him to go back and recover that with no real meaningful loss. Where are you guys expecting to see most of our action early on here in this game? Because I feel like with these two teams, it's got to be a bloody one, right?
Well, I mean, we're seeing them all stack up level 1. So, you know, MDK are looking for a 5-man invade here towards Raptors, trying to get some vision, potentially trying to figure out, is there going to be a lane swap here? You know, Ziggs and Nautilus obviously can be pretty effective in those lane swaps, but I also think they'd be pretty happy to be going up against this 2v2 here from GAM. So I think they're really just trying to get intel, figure out where this is going to be going, and they're actually initiating the lane swap.
Yeah, I think it's to try and just punish Kiaya, right?
Yeah.
Because this Smolder is not going to do well left on his lonesome underneath the tower. And it's also paired with Rakan, so someone that's also quite squishy in those early stages. So I think for MDK, it's, hey, we get to leave Supa on his own. He can just farm it out. And then we can start to move Alvaro in the map and get him involved very early. Because I think that's also how they break up in this game, is after this lane swap's complete, trying to play around for a Scout with Elyoya, with Alvaro, and get this Yone rolling.
And MDK are kind of going for the very, what I consider to be like LCK style lane swap, where you just have your support lane mid, you know, alongside what in the regular season was always another AD carry. But in this case, it is going to be Kiaya laning with Emo here for now. He's just going to be kind of that backup and looking to see if he can get some stacks on these melee champions in those early levels. But yeah, it is going to set that Smolder quite a bit behind. Obviously, on the other side, Mirwin's going to be set behind as well, but it's less important for the Gnar.
I think it's also the fact that in their last game, GAM did not look so hot when it came towards the lane swap. It said Easy looked very, very far behind. And yes, Kiaya did come out on top in the Jacks, but I think that's where MDK kind of looked at that and said, GAM just don't really look like they're fully prepared for this. Now, Alvaro's moved down. We've seen this before. The TP should be coming through very shortly for Mirwin to come and join him on this bottom side. And I don't think this dive is going to be very successful for GAM.
Well, let's see. They still got a few more minions to clear through on the wave as MDK are crashing the wave into the top lane tier 1.
This is guaranteed kill. He's level 1.
Alvaro already flashing, hits level 2 right after the flash. Levi has to back out of the way of the Turbid aggro. Supa arrives, and the GAM dive fails on the first pass. It looks like they're coming back in to try to keep it going here. Is Alvaro about to be killed? There it is. Supa wants to get one back onto Levi, but he doesn't quite have the damage here just yet. Flashing past the grand entrance. Supa picks up Levi, makes it a 1-for-1.
I think the overgreed coming through from GAM on the repeat dive, they've gotten away. They should have just looked for the resets, but instead they try and go one more. Supa comes out with a kill, and Mirwin is chasing these GAM members right the way home.
Yeah, this is actually, you know, at the end of the day, though, still not that bad. Nice play from Supa, flashing up over that Recon W there to be able to actually trade a kill back. If they didn't get that, it would have been really good for GAM. And we do have TP available on Kiaya, so he can just TP straight towards top, where Mirwin TP down towards bot and Supa TP down towards bot as well. So at the end of the day, you got first blood on the Dragon here for Kiaya. I think GAM are still pretty happy with the play. You know, definitely was a little bit more dicey than I was expecting, because Alvaro got level 2 right as they were going for that dive, and that made it a little bit more difficult.
All right, let's check back in mid here, where everybody's still just farming pretty normally. Frescowi down to about half HP, but still comfortable enough here. Down about 10 CS, though, so falling a little bit behind is Alvaro and Supa trying to get this wave pushed up, crashed into the tier 1 turret. Alvaro caught by the grand entrance, so a little bit of damage going to find its way into the health bar as he's down to 300. Going to need to be a little bit careful here, as Levi is still in his blue quadrant, could make his way down if MDK stay pushed.
And that's why I don't think Supa was really helping him out on the engage. It was toss everything in towards that wave to just get a crash so they're not overextended for a potential play from Levi. But at the moment, the CS lead working out well for them. It's just when you look at that top side, Kiaya gonna have a lot of pressures. Elio just goes in for a sec.
Yeah, it looks like Elio's just trying to annoy them, stop the backs, but he is now pretty low on HP, down to 200, gets out of the way of the satchel charge, which looks like Supa was trying to interrupt him in the battle dance, maybe stop him from getting away on that one, trying to get a summoner spell, but does not quite have the placement or the timing.
Yeah, and I think he's going forward, you know, kind of trying to harass them there and see if they'd overcommit on a chase, because again, as you touched on earlier, Levi was in the area, he was in the pixel brush in the river, so, you know, if MDK did get a little aggressive in that 2v2, could have been bad, but also Supa does lose a little bit of tempo here. It's going to give more time for Easy Love to be able to crash this wave. I don't think Supa's going to lose much, if any of it, but at the very least, it'll give Easy Love the time to be able to get this wave in and get his base off.
All right, TP back to the mid lane from Emo. First purchase is going to have the Hextech alternator there. Always feels good to be able to at least have enough gold for the first major component after you use that first TP. Frescowi's now going to take the opportunity to go back to base himself, grabs the Berserker Greaves, now full build on Yone. Back up in top lane. I have to.
You could just slip it in there.
I have to, man. The champion finally has the win rate that justifies my disdain for him. As Mirwin, below half HP, gonna have to be a little bit careful here.
They
Levi
have some
is
disdain
lurking.
for the jungler here pretty quick.
Yeah, Elio also making his way up here. All right, Mirwin is in some trouble. Tries to get the bounce away. Nicely done. Flashes over the wall just in time to avoid the knock-up from the grand entrance.
Yeah, it's nice for him to escape, but this wave is still in an awful spot for him. He has no TP to get back here, and the wave is pushing away from him. And you've already got a nice gold lead opening up thanks to that early kill for Kiaya, and that's only going to extend even further now.
And that's why I think the dive actually was quite good for GAM, because they got double TP out, they got first blood. Yes, you trade a kill, but overall, they went out pretty heavily on the map, and Smolder's in a good spot now.
Ooh, nice dredge line there coming out from Alvaro. Elio has to flash away, but it still don't matter. That's Yone, baby. That's why you ban him. Nicely done. The fate sealed might have missed, but Frescowi recognizing he can still flash forward for the last little bit of damage. MDK up 1.
And that's huge for Ayoya to actually set up these Void Grubs, because yes, you've got that big lead for Kiaya in that top side, but a lot of that lead was on Supa, who was trying to roam up to that play, but was going to be a little bit late. So the fact you get that kill in mid just sets up beautifully now for MDK, not only with the gold, but the objective as well.
Yeah, and the kill going on to Frescowi is also going to feel so good. Easy Love getting pretty low here. You can see MDK are thinking about, do we want to actually go for the wraparound dive? Alyoya and Alvaro in the spot to do it, and if he is caught window shopping,
oh, that was so
I cannot
close.
believe he didn't flash that. That was like...
That looked like it was hit.
Calculated.
Honestly, that looked like it should have hit with how Nautilus hooks normally
with
lollipop.
the bubble at the end. Yeah, exactly. I thought he was just about to just die.
And obviously Supa agreed. That immediate ult was like, oh, I've got him, and then just barely have to escape.
If it did hit, he would have been in the sweet spot.
Like,
I feel
cool
like
guys don't look at explosions. He just walked away.
Oh, his sunglasses were on in that one, man. He was just walking
just the visor, the helmet comes down.
Yeah.
Things going good for MDK right now. Up 1 kill, up a little bit of gold, but the 3 Void Grubs is the best part so far. But Levi has stolen away the enemy red buff. Alvaro flashing over the wall to chase him here. Levi now critically low, has to try to get away. Flashes over the wall himself. Going to be protected by his support, but he will not be protected enough. Levi's got no way home except in a body bag. Nicely done from MDK, but they aren't done yet. Emo's your next target. 3v1. Akali popping the smoke, trying to get away from this one. Emo Emo firing back with a 5-point strike, but there ain't nothing else to do. MDK, another 1-for-0 trade, punishing the red buff steal.
I mean, it's a nice thought from Levi. Go for the invade, get the red buff, but he's a little bit too late because Elyoya had already come back onto the map, was moving down there, and they just get caught out with the numbers advantage. And now that's 2 kills over to this Yone in the mid lane.
And this is a great punish from Alvaro. You know, moving around the map, he has been so on point, I think, for MDK throughout this tournament, especially in play-ins. There was a lot of hype around how much he was getting done for this team as the engaged player. And again, smart movement here helps to get another kill for Fresskowy. The Yone's 2-0 now, and that is going to get frightening. And
I think this is a big test now for Fresskowy because we've seen him get leads in the LEC before, but he hasn't always been able to convert them across. We think back to like the Tristana game he had against Fnatic, but now on this Yone with such a great start, this is a moment where he can step back and kind of shake off some of those narratives.
Absolutely, and I mean, honestly, you know, for a tournament where I think a lot of people were expecting maybe more from the MDK solo laners, you know, there was a lot of hype around Mirwin coming in, but it's been more around the bot lane and the jungle, right? You know, I think Supa and Alvaro have really stepped up for MDK. They've been getting a lot of these games that MDK is winning across the finish line, and Elyoya has been really solid as well. So, you know, for Fresskowy, if Mirwin can start really playing strong, can start carrying some of these games, you never know how far you can go, even though you're in a bad spot right now.
All right, we've got the gank squad coming up. Alvaro and Elyoya ready to make this dive happen on Kiaya, who eats the sweet spot on the Mega Inferno Bomb. It's so easy for Elyoya to follow it up with the Twisted Advanced Bramble Smash to secure the kill. Nicely done. MDK with a 4-1 lead.
And this is great, and I also think this is where MDK are at their strongest. When you've got Elyoya and Alvaro working together like this, playing around the map, is something we didn't always get to see when Alvaro started to shift over to things like the Braum, but right now, GAM are feeling the pressure of what this duo can do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you start getting the push, if Ziggs starts getting access to the towers, it can be frightening. They obviously already have those 3 grubs. Emo is going to be able to trade 1 plate down on that bot side, and do have some scaling threats, but MDK really in control, feeling comfortable thus far.
Feel a little bit less comfortable maybe with the enemies taking the dragon, but first dragon, Cloud Dragon, doesn't really mean a whole lot of anything. That's pretty much the only thing GAM have acquired this entire game. You can see total gold on the left side of your screen. It is the carries of MDK leading the charge, and it's about to get even worse. Fate Sealed and Dredgeline again. It's Alvaro setting things up for Fresskowy, but they just barely don't have enough damage to get another kill.
Emo just barely able to escape away from that one. Well, nicely done to get away, because I thought he was doomed in that position, but good flash and the follow-up on the perfect execution managed to escape.
I mean, he survives, it's nice, but at the same time, it feels like every one of his ultimates is using to run away, right? Is being used on that defensive, so now he has no flash, he has no ulti, so when you're looking towards this next fight at Grubs, well, what is Akali going to get done there? Probably not a lot, so MDK could potentially look for that 6 grub play here. And we'll see if they're going to go for it, as Supa's just TPing straight back to mid. He has the Luden's Companion done now, so it's going to be at quite a strong point of the game.
I feel like these neutral objectives are far more desynced than they are in most games that we see. Usually they're around the same time where one and the other gets taken, sometimes desynced by a minute or two, but 4-minute desync means that everybody's pretty much just only got one thing they're looking at on the map right now, and MDK are the first ones to the prize. 4 grubs already secured, so they will have Void Mites, but they would love to have the extra ones here from these other 2, and GAM is nowhere in the neighborhood, so it looks like this will be an easy 6 grub game 1 for MDK.
Yeah, they're kind of window shopping in a different neighborhood, though. I wasn't sure if they wanted to try and hop over that wall and go on towards Supa. Alvaro was just on the reset, but instead they're just going to try and steal away some of these camps on the bottom side, although Fresskowy going to spot out, it looks like Levi in a second.
Mirwin trying to get the extended trade here on Kiaya. Narbar nearly charged, transforms there with a wallop onto the cannon minion just to make sure he gets the extra little bit of HP. Is getting kind of low here.
Yeah, and Kiaya does still have the ulti available, so Mirwin has to be a little bit careful.
Right.
You know, if you get tagged by a couple more spells, you might actually be able to look for the all-in. I mean, one more Q, a W, and an ult, you could actually die here. So Mirwin just trying to push out that wave, but this is getting a bit dicey.
Yeah, the plan all along was to try to bait him in for the Maokai. The Mega Inferno Bomb even made its way up there, but flap, Kiaya takes him out. He knows there's no way back to safety. The only way home is through a gray screen, and Kiaya with the execution gets the outplay. Mirwin way overplays his hand.
Yeah, you're playing with fire. The dragon's definitely gonna burn you. Mirwin was so low, but really stubborn. You know, didn't want to give up the push there. Really wanted to be able to make it crash. Gives over an easy one to Kiaya, and the fact that he didn't even get a single auto on him for a trade kill means it's an execute. And GAM are going to be feeling pretty happy about that. But still, the 6 scrubs, they take down the tower.
Yeah.
It's still, you know, going to be a positive gold play here on the map for GAM.
Yeah, didn't even have to use the helicopter parent in that one. got to hold on to the ult. All working well out for GAM, but yeah, as you say, the tower taken, the gold's still going to be there, and the fact you're still investing a lot more time from GAM onto this bottom side sets up mid.
All right, they want to go in after Easy Love here. He commits the Killer Instinct pretty early, pops both Summoner spells as well. Honestly, kind of surprised that Easy Love wanted to spend everything there, considering it was just the Maokai and the Nautilus going in for.
That's what I was going to say, is I think he didn't realize that there wasn't any damage dealers coming.
Right.
I think with just the ultimate alone, yeah, you're going to take some damage, but you can kind of just slowly walk your way out, and maybe he was nervous about where Frescowi was on that Yone.
I think he wasn't certain on Supa's ult timer, because you can see it's about to tick up, and with that damage coming in over the top, maybe that's enough. But yeah, I think you can definitely see the pressure on GAM to make sure that they're not giving away some of these easy kills.
I mean, hey, that's just going to be that many more opportunities for MDK to put a target on this guy's forehead, right? Like, it'll be very, very easy to kill this Kai'Sa without those resources, considering how easily they've been finding picks so far in the first 14 minutes of the game.
Well, and it's kind of a similar problem to what we saw happen, to Emo in the bot lane, where he loses his summoners, he loses his ultimate right before a fight. Well, guess what? In a minute here, we're going to have the dragon spawning. Herald is up now, so it's like you can't really fight Herald with no sums and no ulti on Kai'Sa. So even though they don't earn themselves a kill, MDK are going to earn themselves objectives with every one of these plays.
It's a down payment, right? You don't get anything immediately, but here in a couple of minutes, you're going to see some dividends. As now, they're looking to see another kill. Emo trying to get himself away, but the wombo combo, man, immediately the Nature's Grasp, Mega Inferno by Fate sealed one after the other, and right now, it is Mad's game, and GAM are just living in it.
Yeah, you can see it on the Mastercard lane economy snapshot, but it might be about to change. As Mirror will just hop away. But still, it's just good moves around the map from MDK. Yes, they will lose mid-turret, but they've got so much gold, and also
they broke the
inhibitor turret as well.
It's not even 15 minutes, bro. They broke the base.
Isn't MDK usually on the opposite side of this?
What is happening?
Well, I mean, they're getting a lot of gold. It's just been trades on the map here for GAM. They're not going to defend on top side, so instead they push in mid. They do get that tier 1. They get a little bit of chip damage down on that bot side as well on the tier 2, and they will go towards the dragon. It is now a 2.5k gold lead for MDK, though. They have been punishing these side lanes so effectively with that Zigzal. I mean, Supa is really strong at this point, already up 1k, and that Zigzal hurts.
I also think this is just, oh, hang on, here we go.
Okay, Elyoya and Alvaro find Elio in the brush, but that's not really the target you want to engage on. They don't really have a whole lot of vision on the rest of GAM.
Yeah, Mirren, Megan are about to tick out, but this is a significantly cleaner version.
Oh, they're TPing, we're gonna fight.
Yeah, we got the TP going in as Elio engages with the quickness. Mom swoops in. Alvaro's the first to die as Easy Love grabs the kill. Emo versus Supa off to the side is another shutdown going the way of GAM. Elyoya in the middle of everybody, flashes back over the wall into the bot side. River trying to use the Bramble Smash to get himself away as Emo's gonna be cleaned up by Mirwin, and now another one killed on GAM's side. Elyoya so incredibly low, but he goes back in. Levi still takes him out. Mirwin's about to go. Mega Nari slams that Wukong back into the wall. And GAM drops to the power of the Gnar. Mirwin showing up big with a triple.
GAM tried everything there, and it looked dicey for a second for MDK, but the wallets are just too big. MDK able to turn it around.
Exactly, and to me, it's all about the target selection here for GAM. Look at the targets that are caught. It is the support, it is the jungle, it is not the carries that are really being threatened. Emo on the side does catch on to Supa, but the Gnar, the Yone are largely untouched, are doing so much damage. Levi's flashing over the wall, again, chasing to try to kill off the enemy Maokai. It's just not the right target to be dumping the damage into.
Man, would have felt great if Kai'Sa had Cleanse and Flash in a fight like this, and that's what we were talking about earlier, those summoner spells, the long cooldowns that they got earlier, it earned them this fight that Mirwin is able to just stomp his way out of with an extra 1,000 gold in his pocket from all those kills.
It does show you, though, that you can never really be caught sleeping against GAM, though, because if MDK weren't able to collapse, that could have been the moment for GAM, so it may not be working out for them in game number 1, but MDK definitely going to be wary of it as this series goes on.
All right, Levi gets caught here by the twisted advance, and now Alvaro, again, just ready to keep him locked up with the dredge line. Maokai ulti coming through, too. Supa backs up. He knows that Levi's only potential play here would be to try to jump onto him and find some burst, but it ain't going to happen. MDK up 5,000 gold 17 minutes into the game, and they might just take a tier 2 down here in bottom lane and build it even further. Another nice engage from Alvaro. They get the kill on Kiaya threw the flash anyway. Elio's way too late to try to save anybody, and GAM is absolutely shattered in game number 1. MDK is showing him how it's done.
And this is some of the cleanest League of Legends I'm seeing MDK play all year. Like, it's great working through side lanes, playing through Frescowi's lead, using their push in mid off of Supa to access these side lanes. This is a very clean map state from MDK. And it's a big thumbs up from a lot of LEC fans.
I mean, it's a massive gold lead at this point, just about 7,000 in the advantage for MDK. They got the 6 early grubs off of that early pressure that they were putting on there, never allowing GAM to really be in a good spot to fight prior to those objectives. And GAM realized the game was slipping away, go for that one punch in that TP play, can't find the right targets, get burst down, and now it is just feeling nearly impossible. Yone on those 2 items, incredibly strong. Everyone across the board has a massive advantage. I mean, it's 2.6k gold lead for the Yone. That's almost an entire item.
Yeah, and I gotta give more props to Alvaro. I feel like the dredge lines have been so on point throughout this entire game. Nautilus is the champ that I pick every year in my pick'ems to be the inting king. This champion is so easy to just throw yourself into the black and white screen on, and he's been doing a great job of setting up plays, not overextending, putting himself in a spot. Did I really just curse it?
No, he's fine. He's
okay,
good.
all right, he got away. I had to make sure. I'm so sorry, Alvaro.
But I think you're right, Flares. And this was something when initially he came into the league back in winter, he was phenomenal. Everyone was like, oh my God, we've got this rookie support that is terrorizing the league, in conversation for one of the best supports in our league right now. And then it kind of drifted into spring and summer, and we just didn't see that same Alvaro. But coming into season finals and playoffs, and now on the world stage, Alvaro is showing why he was making such a name for himself at the start of the year. And it's great to see this rookie performing on this main stage once again.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, players love to talk about how much you can actually learn at a tournament like this, and to be able to see, some of that development here live on stage is awesome. MDK also picking up so many of those luxury items that are going to deny any possible comeback from GAM. There's double locket, there's a Seekers on the Ziggs, they're gonna go for the H.
Ooh, Supa with the flash away to deny the quickness. Alvaro keeping Levi zoned out here as well as Mirwin makes his teleport into the fight. The satchel charge secures the destruction of, remember, this is the second tier 3 turret destroyed in the GAM base. That first one up in the top lane was destroyed 5 minutes ago. The Akali smoke has to be used here as Supa now with no flash left to try to get away. Killer Instinct jumps in from Easy Love with the Fate Seal coming back from Frescowi. He's found his way onto Kiaya, now looking to tear him apart instead. Kiaya's first to die. Easy Love's gonna be killed. A nice stasis from Supa to survive the dive in from Emo, who's still trying to go back in for him. Finds the kill finally, but he's gonna trade his own life back for it anyway. 3 dead on GAM for only Supa on MDK. They are pushing straight for the throat.
Miro was just in the base the entire time clearing out these minions, and now it's just a red carpet and it's GAM's blood that they're walking over.
It's Elio and Levi trying to stop the game from ending just barely 20 minutes in. Levi's about to die and Elio can't do a thing about it. MDK still got a couple of minions left. They have the next wave marching up. It's a couple seconds on Easy Love and Kiaya, but the turrets are already gone. MDK are on to the Nexus. GAM will try and fight, but try as they might, they'll say goodnight. MDK with a 20-minute win in game 1.
And what a start here to the series for MDK. Talk about a confidence builder. You come out, you crush your opponents in this first game. But I've got to say, no way are they leaving Yone unbanned again, man. Just no way.
I'm in shock. I can't believe how clean that was. This is insane.
That was damn impressive.